Hey guys, it's Friday night once again. Glad to have you with me here from the man cave. I am going to talk about a lot of good stuff tonight. Uh, this is going to be fun. So, we're going to start out just like we do every Friday night with a drink. I see Russ is with us. Russ is having some Eagle Rare. Good to have you with us tonight, Russ. Oh, he's having a glass of red wine. He's expended his supply of Eagle Rare. Oh boy, yeah, I got some of that coming. I just got to go back down to Georgia and pick it up. I'm going to. I've got a little bit left in this one bottle of Single Barrel Select, so I'm gonna pour that and see where that leaves me. Let's get a couple fingers of that in the glass. Oh boy, I'm going to come up a little short of where I like to be in my glass. Yeah, well, we're having 1.5 fingers tonight. I didn't know how much that would pour. So, yeah, I'm going to have a little bit of a short pour tonight. Cheers. Randy's with us with some Woodford Reserve. I went down to our local ABC store just a little while ago because they get their shipment from Raleigh. The guy told me on the third Thursday and the first Wednesday of each month. So I went down there today to see if they got anything I wanted, and they didn't. They did have one thing the guy recommended. It was a McKenna. I'm not familiar with it. It was they had one bottle of it, and it was $50. It was a McKenna bottled in bond. I can't remember the detail of it. It's something I've never tried before. It might have been good, but I'm kind of new at this, and I've spent a lot of money on bottles of stuff that should be good, but I'm not that keen on it. So I'm a little bit leery to spend another $50 on a bottle of something I'm not sure if I'm going to like. Jarrell, glad to have you with us. Jack Daniel's Black or Weller's Reserve? I like Jack Daniel's. I can't tell you anything about Weller's because I haven't tried it. Andy from Pennsylvania is having a beer tonight. I'm getting ready to order some beer, and I'm trying to remember. I think my friend Stephen Hickey said he wanted in on this order. There's a place online. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say that it's called BelgianMart.com, but I can order West Veteran. And there's Stephen. Stephen, glad you could be with us. I'm just talking about, I talked to you earlier in the week maybe about getting together with me on an order, and we'll order some Westies. I'd like to get my hands on another couple of bottles of the West Veteran blonde. I want some of the blonde, and I want some of the 8. The 12 is their big gun, but man, after our friend Gerben hooked me up with the blonde and the 8, I think those two are my favorites now. So I'm going to get an order together. It's a little bit pricey to order it, but it's worth it. It works out to, once you get it here with shipping and everything, it's $22 to $25 a bottle. It's not cheap. Stephen, when we get that, I'm going to drag you online here with me, and we're going to taste it. We're going to drink together, right? You going to come on with me finally? Guys, I'm begging Stephen Hickey to come on here with me because we would have a blast. We'll get him on here eventually. So, yeah, it's been a long week. It's been a busy week around here. I cut my finger on a box grater last night, grating some cheese to go on a pizza. We're going to talk about that pizza here in a little bit, but yeah, we've got a good crew with us here tonight. We've got about 45 people following along. Dewey Lohman. Dewey's my cousin up in Virginia. Cheer wine. Yes, sir. That's a real Southern drink right there. That's a limited scope. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with cheer wine. My wife loves it. It's I guess you could call it a cherry cola, but it's kind of a local thing. When I was a kid, my cousins used to come visit from California, and they would always take a suitcase full of cheer wine home with them when they went. They can't buy it on the West Coast. You probably still can't, but it's a thing, and I like it. It's really sweet. It's just really sweet. Andrew, good to have you with us tonight too, up in Canada. So I love this Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select. So far, that's kind of my house whiskey. I've got a bottle of next week. We'll do the Buffalo Trace next week. So one of the things that's not on my agenda tonight that I wanted to talk briefly about here is the Kettle Joe. Atlanta Grill Company sent out an email today. The Kettle Joe's in stock and available for order. The one I have here is a pre-production model, and I'm going to make a video. I may try to get it done tomorrow. I don't know if I'll have time tomorrow to get it done. If I don't, I'll get it done on Monday for sure. But I'm going to make my walk around demo video on this grill and get it online. And I'm going to have to do it with the one I've been cooking on. I don't have the actual production model. From what I've been told, there are no significant differences between it and the one I have. So we'll go with this. And what I'm hoping to do next week, next Friday, I want to do a live stream specifically about this grill. I'm trying to get someone to come on live with me to talk about this grill, and I'm waiting on a response. I haven't gotten a response yet, but I've got a special guest I'd like to bring on with me to talk about this grill, and hopefully that'll pan out, and we'll be able to have somebody else in here that will be able to give us an expert view on this grill as well, not just mine. I'd like for you guys to get some feedback on that grill from me and somebody else, and we'll talk about what's good about it, what's not good about it, and a lot of other things. I like this grill so far. It's a really nice system for what it is. Oh, and I'm looking forward to that Gosney Dome also. I am really looking forward to the potential with that gas and or wood-fired pizza oven. So we'll be seeing that too. I should have one of those rather quickly. I'm not sure exactly when it's coming, but it'll be here, and when it does, we're going to talk about it a lot also, because it's at a lower price point for what it is than a lot of other similar products in the market. But this Kettle Joe is the same sort of thing. The Kettle Joe is a $499 price tag steel. I still haven't figured out yet if I want to call it a Kamado or call it a kettle grill. It's a hybrid in a way, and it does some things you can't do easily in a regular kettle grill, and at the same time, a kettle grill still does a few things better than this one will. So it's kind of a wash. We're gonna look at it. That's why I'm trying to get another guest on. Like I said, I've got somebody that'd be a real good candidate to talk about this with me. Hopefully, we'll be able to get him on. If not, we'll just wing it. So David, no, I haven't done a video on it yet. I'm getting ready to do that. I was just talking about that. We're going to do it this week. I think James Mack, Smoking Dad Barbecue's done a video or two on he's done several on the Kettle Joe. There's a couple other people that have put some video content on it. I haven't done my video on it yet, but I will. I'm going to do a walk around. That's like I always do. It's not what I would call a review. What it is a demo. I'm going to show you the grill, show you the grill's features. I'm not going to talk in that video about what I like and what I don't like. I want to talk about just what it is. And and it does come with the slow roller that you see there. It is part of the package. You get that with the grill. So that was one of the things I just decided to talk about briefly here. Like I said, come back with me next Friday because I intend to do the whole live stream. We're going to talk about that grill. So let's see here. The next thing I wanted to talk about this week is Brussels sprouts, because I've done due diligence with Brussels sprouts this week. I hate Brussels sprouts. I really do. These things are bitter. I can't imagine why anybody likes them. And I made some posts about this on the Man Cave Meals page. And of course, I get tons of feedback with 50 people or 100 people telling me how they do it. And, you know, there's two truths in cooking when you've got something you don't like. And both of these truths come out beautifully when I post about something about like Brussels sprouts. Number one, if you don't like something, put bacon in it. That'll make it better. If you don't like something, put cheese in it. If you put enough cheese on it, you can eat anything you don't like. Cheese and bacon are the fixes for everything wrong in food. So Brussels sprouts are bitter. What I do like about Brussels sprouts is the texture. I think they're a really nice side dish, and they look good. You know, they look really nice on the plate. So what I did, I've been experimenting with it because I want to find a way to like Brussels sprouts, and I'm getting there. I'm getting close. So what I did was I cut the stems off of these guys and I sliced them in half, just like you see in the picture here. And then I steamed them for 10 minutes. This is a trick I learned from Chef Todd Moore. Chef Todd teaches the online cooking classes that I'm enrolled in online, and he does a couple of weekly live streams just like this. And one week he was talking about Brussels sprouts, and it caught my attention because he said, if you don't like Brussels sprouts, it's because you don't know how to cook them. So I said, okay, I want to hear what you've got to say. So I watched his live stream that week. And what Chef Todd did was he prepped these Brussels sprouts just like I've shown you here, and he put them in his steamer for 10 minutes. And what that does is it kind of par cooks the Brussels sprout, and it gets it cooked all the way through rather quickly. And the next thing I did, this isn't following his exact procedure, but I put these in a mixing bowl and I tossed them in a little toasted sesame oil, which is something I think Stephen Hickey had done. I had seen Stephen do this, and of course I knew right away when I saw Stephen do it that the toasted sesame oil is going to bring an Asian flavor to this, and I like that because I've used it with things like bok choy and other things, and it really brings a great flavor. So, or no, Stephen did, or maybe he did. No, I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. He used toasted sesame oil and mirin. So I used both of those here. I used a little bit of mirin, which is a sweet sauce, a sweetener that's used in a lot of Asian food. toasted sesame oil, and then I tossed it with a little bit of the Atlanta Grill Company Himalayan Sherpa, which is salt, pepper, and garlic. So we've got here at this point, we've got a little bit of sweetness added from the mirin, a little bit of umami flavor coming from that toasted sesame oil. And yeah, Steven says mirin and sesame oil. That's what he used. So I ripped that off right away, Steven. Sorry, bud, but I'm giving you credit for it because that's a game changer right there. That's a perfect marriage. And I think that marriage works pretty well at about a 1-to-1 ratio of those two ingredients here. So I seasoned it, and then I got my cast iron pan good and hot. I melted a little ghee in the bottom of the pan. So I put these guys face down in the cast iron and got a sear on them. Just what you see right here. Because back to Chef Todd Moore, Chef Todd said he specifically addressed the bitterness part of the Brussels sprout by talking about the steaming segment of the cook and getting some char on it. He says those two pieces are going to tame the bitterness down to a level where you're going to like it. Okay, what I did here, these were good. I'm going to put this particular cook at the good level because I did this on the stovetop. As you can see there, I didn't take the time to make sure each Brussels sprout had an adequate amount of char on it. So I went for the ones in the middle there that had the most char on it to taste those, and they were good. At this point, I'm telling myself, I'm going to be able to like Brussels sprouts. I just need to keep working on this. I need to get this worked up a little bit more. So I did a second round of these guys. This is a photo from my second cook. I basically did the same thing we had done up to now. I got my pan hot. I put some ghee in the bottom of the pan, got the ghee melted and got it nice and hot. And then I put these guys in face down, just like you see here. And yeah, Mom, I'll make you some Brussels sprouts, I promise. Let me get them to where I like them first. So what I did here was I had my toaster oven preheated to 425 in convection mode. I put these guys in face down in the pan, went straight to the toaster oven with them, and gave them 10 minutes in there at 425. So you can see here I've got a little bit of char on the top sides of these. So I think I need a little bit more char. So I'll probably up that to 450 the next time around I do this. And I got a little bit darker char on the bottom, which is something else that I felt that I needed after that first round. What I've got here, you can see these, the deep brown and the bronze color here is caramelization. And some of the black that you see here is char. And in this particular case, char is good when it's minimized, when you don't have too much of it. But I want to get a little additional char on the top of these things as well, and I think I'll be golden in terms of where the flavor is going to come out on these. So what I'm ending up with here is a hybrid cook where we're steaming. Well, this is going to be kind of a 3-method cook by the time I'm done with it. We're going to start with the steaming, the par cook there. You could also boil that if you wanted to instead of steaming. You might not leave it for 10 minutes if you're boiling. You might leave it for 5. But so we steam, we pan sear, but we're also kind of roasting / broiling in the toaster oven. Now, there's one final piece of this that I'm going to bring. I'm going to do this exact same process on my next cook, but I'm going to brine these Brussels sprouts for an hour or 2 in a saline solution. I'm going to probably make a brine that's about 3% salt, about the same salinity as seawater. and let these guys, I'm going to cut the stems off, slice them in half, and then have an ice water bath with this brine and let it brine for an hour or two where I can draw some salt into the Brussels sprouts, because salt is another way to tame bitterness. And I think this final process with the use of that brine is going to make the perfect Brussels sprout that does not include bacon and does not include cheese. I've got nothing against bacon and cheese, but I really want to try to figure out how to keep the flavor of the Brussels sprout intact without covering it up completely. Uh, when you throw bacon and cheese on things, those are big flavor additions, and they're really going to totally change the flavor of what you're working with. So it's just food for thought. It's really making me think about, how did somebody ever discover that they liked Brussels sprouts? Uh, when it comes to green vegetables, I eat green vegetables. I don't eat enough of them, but my like of green vegetables is somewhat limited. And that's one of the reasons I'm trying hard to learn to like Brussels sprouts, because I think they're cool. They look good on the plate. They make good presentation. But I really like green beans, straight green beans. I like green peas. I like asparagus. Uh, I'm not really a broccoli fan, but broccoli, once again, if it's prepared properly, I like broccoli. I like stir-fried broccoli that's been, flash stir-fried at very high temperatures. Um, so, it's one of those things that it's all about finding it's a lot about finding the right way to cook something to make you enjoy it when you might not have enjoyed it before. Um, Green beans are something that I particularly like. And when green beans come into season, which won't be too long, I'm going to do some side dish stuff with green beans. And Andrew, I love okra. I'm glad you brought that up. That's one that I really forgot to mention here. Okra. My wife loves okra too. So I'll do some stuff. I'll do some stuff with okra. Her dad, my father-in-law, grows okra in his garden, so I might be able to get a hold some garden fresh okra. And yeah, there's a lot of cool things you can do with okra. I've had, unfortunately, one of the best one of the best okras I've ever had was kind of a tempura deep fried okra, where they just did the thing whole. I took my wife out for dinner at one of the local nicer restaurants one time, and we had this as an appetizer, and man, it was really good. I love okra. So yeah, that's another one. Okra is easy to get here. It's harder to get fresh out of season, but frozen okra is good. I'm okay with frozen okra. In my area, though, it's hard to find frozen okra that's whole. It's typically sliced, and I'd rather have it whole and do things with it that way. I don't mind sliced okra, but I got chastised for putting the okra in my Brunswick stew. The first time I made a Brunswick stew video, I put okra in it. And of course, that's not a traditional ingredient for Brunswick stew, but I like it, and it was really good. So that's what we did. So that's what's going on this week with the Brussels sprouts, and you're going to see some more. I'm going to fix Brussels sprouts to make it something I like, and when I do, I'll probably make a video of it. It will be a video that I will most likely do in the Alfa wood-fired oven, because that's going to be one of those really right situations, because cooking hot here is something great. Oh boy, Sharon. Sharon didn't just say it. Tanya, my executive producer's working in the background here. Sharon likes ketchup. That's okay. I'm not gonna laugh. I shouldn't laugh. I get irritated when people make fun of the way people eat and the way people put stuff on their food, but ketchup is not something I'd have ever thought about. Now, Sharon, now that you've said that, and now that I've agreed not to laugh at you, I want you to try something for me. Instead of ketchup, Stephen Hickey, if you're still watching, I'm going to give up another idea that I got from Stephen Hickey. You got to throw some Dijon mustard out there on that instead of the ketchup. And let me know how you like that, because I believe Stephen had some Dijon mustard worked into that as well. On that last picture I saw Stephen post, he's a fantastic cook, and when I talk him into coming on here with me, you're going to see that, because I'm going to get him to send me a bunch of the pictures of the stuff he cooks where we can talk about it. This guy can cook circles around me. I don't know. He just constantly puts up amazing looking stuff. Yeah, see, look at that. Steam blanch, mirror and sesame oil, seasoning of choice, and grill until al dente. You know, he knows his way around the kitchen and the grill. I learned stuff from him. That's why I make sure I don't miss anything he's posted. We're going to get him on here with us one night, and when we do, all hell's going to break loose. I promise you that. The guy can cook. So, yeah, Terry, he is a good guy. I've had the good fortune of meeting Stephen in person a couple of times now, and his wife. They're both great people, and he spends a lot of time doing moderating in the Kamado Joe Facebook group. And not only is he moderating, he's posting his content as well, and it's all top notch. The guy makes me drool every time he posts something. It's really inspiring. So I'm going to be good and not get that extra finger that I'm short tonight. So, all right. Let me see where I am here. Okay. The next thing's chicken wings. I don't know if I've talked about chicken wings either and what we were going to do, but Terry Ryan, you and I talked about this last week. I made the best chicken wings I've made so far this week, and I used the Pellet Joe, because one of the things we talked about last week when we talked about chicken wings is how the higher airflow is a better cooking environment. So I broke down my wings and I dried them off as best I could with paper towels, and that's really good enough in most cases. And then I made a flour mixture. I used some all-purpose flour, and I put some seasoning in there. You can season your all-purpose flour any way you like when you're going to do this. And I just put some of my Man Cave Meals AP Mojo in there, which is an amped up salt, pepper, garlic. And then I toss these wings, or before I toss the wings in that flour, I did a very light smearing of extra virgin olive oil on here. And then I tossed them in my flour mixture. And then what you're seeing in this picture here is those chicken wings are sitting on my Kamado Joe Classic extender rack, because I wanted to get them on the grill. Here's a picture of that on the pellet grill. Down underneath this, you've got this heat shield, and I wanted to cook hot. So when you put these wings down on the main cooking grate on the Pellet Joe, you got to flip them regularly or they will burn, because it gets really hot down at grill level. But I was cooking at 450 or 475 here, and 30, I think somewhere between the 30 and 40-minute mark. Here's what I've got, and these were perfect. This employs two techniques at once for making a really crisp, crunchy chicken wing. Number one, high airflow, high heat. Number two, the flour. The flour is providing a crunch here over and above what you get from crisping up the skin. the starches in that flour expand when they get hot, and that little bit of oil that we put in there facilitates that, and you get a really crunchy wing. Now, this particular wing is beautiful because what you're going to do at this point is sauce it. You're going to put these wings back in a mixing bowl and put a little bit of just a little bit of sauce in there and toss the wings in that sauce, and that crispy exterior is going to hold the sauce very well, and it's going to allow you to keep a little crunch on those wings. So far, out of everything I've done, including the rotisserie baskets, this technique works best. This technique can't be duplicated in a rotisserie basket because if you put the flour, the seasoned flour on there, it's all going to come off in the rotisserie, just like it would with any seasoning that you've done. So that's the best wing I've done so far. This is kind of what they look like in the mixing bowl after I was done with them. I let them cool a little bit, and I had these for lunch. You know, I had some of these. I didn't sauce this particular batch because I wanted to really get a chance to evaluate the crunch factor here, since that's what we're going for. We're trying to figure out the best way to make wings on the grill. And everybody's, you know, the crunch factor is the holy grail here. That's what everybody's shooting for, and the right technique is important if you want to bring crunch factor to the wings. There's some techniques that work a lot better than others on that. I was able to get a nice crunchy exterior on chicken wings in the rotisserie basket, but it lacked the added crunch that you get from the flour, and it also meant you just can't put a whole lot of wings in there at one time. You have to reduce the amount. 4 pounds of wings in a rotisserie basket will never get this crunchy. The 2 to 2.5 pounds got a good crunch on them after an hour at 400 to 425 in the basket, but it's a longer process. So there's where we are on the chicken wings. And let's see, am I missing out anything? Yeah, Stephen Janice is talking about you. Did you see that? All right. Well, Janice Berger's with us tonight. Glad you could be here. My mom's hanging out with us tonight too. So, Mom, I'll make you a batch of these wings because this batch that I did here is better than the last batch of wings I made you by far. They're way better. The last ones I made a batch of wings for my mom to take to a luncheon she was going to. I did hers on the Pellet Joe, but they were done directly on the grate, the lower grate. They were flipped during the cook, and they were not flour coated with the seasonings. I tossed hers in a little bit of sauce and let her take those to her meeting and then reheat those. So, yeah. The next thing I did this week that was a lot of fun was some beef ribs. Anybody that follows me knows that I think beef ribs are the cream of the crop from the barbecue meats. These are the Texas short ribs from Porter Road. This particular package of Texas short ribs was a little fattier than I'm used to seeing from Porter Road, but they were still really good. These were a little on the heavy side. You can see these big, thick veins of fat here. That's like I said, that's just a little fattier than I'm used to seeing from Porter Road. But what I wanted to do this week in the experimental window is I wanted to cook beef ribs in my wood-fired oven. I've cooked beef ribs many times on the Kamado. I've cooked them on my PK 360. I've cooked them in the Masterbuilt Gravity series, but I've never tried cooking beef ribs in a wood-fired oven. So the Alfa 1, I got it out, and I fired it up and we cooked beef ribs on the Alfa 1. So I seasoned these guys up the night before I was ready to cook. I cooked these on Tuesday. So Monday, I gave these guys a nice coating of, this is a 50-50 mix of my Man Cave Meals AP Mojo and Pork Mojo. I'm coming to a realization that that combination is an amazing all-purpose barbecue rub. It works well on pork and beef, uh, and I've been using that very frequently. So I fired up the Alfa 1, and I started it up with some wood splits, but then I fed it hardwood lump charcoal because in order to keep this guy at a low and slow range under 300 degrees, it works better with hardwood lump charcoal. But cooking in the wood-fired oven is a totally different concept than cooking on a Kamado. Things cook faster in this oven, even when you're cooking at the same temperatures than they cook in a Kamado, because you're dealing with a couple of different kinds of heat. We've got heat from the deck, from the brick cooking surface. We've got heat. We've got some radiant heat, and then we've got a lot of convection in here also. As you can see here, I've got a fire brick in here, and I actually added a second one right after I put this in to block some of the radiant heat so I could keep the temperature over here on the right side of this oven down lower. And what I do periodically in there when I'm running hardwood lump charcoals, I put a small chunk of oak just right up against it and let that oak ignite, where I can get some wood fire flavor here along with that charcoal. And these things cooked beautifully over there. I got a nice bark on the outside, and I was able to keep this thing under 300 degrees Fahrenheit for the entire cook. And these ribs usually take me 4.5 hours, and sometimes 5 hours to cook at around 250. And these came out in just over 3 hours at this. Oops, that's not where I wanted to end up. Where my pictures are at? My pictures are out of order. Okay. So coming close to 3 hours in, this is about what we looked like. And at this point, I've got a good bark on these things, and the pullback on the bone's crazy good. And these things are probing like jelly. They're extremely tender. So I took these guys out and let them rest for a little while, and they were delicious. The excess fat from those thick fat veins that were in this one, they did not render out completely like I normally get, but these things still tasted amazing. Really extremely great quality pork ribs, or I'm sorry, beef short ribs from Porter Road. That 4-pack of those things, it's less than $40. I don't remember what the price tag on those is, but they may be having a problem with them. I'm not sure, because I went to the Porter Road website the other day, and those were not on the website at the moment. So if any of you shop at Porter Road, some things come and go, and typically they'll show it as out of stock when they don't have it, and then you have to get on their waiting list. But these had been removed from the website. I'm not sure why, but the dino bones were still there, and the dino bones is a 3-bone rack of the plate ribs. They're amazing also. I've cooked those several times. So if you're into beef ribs as much as I am, you really need to consider at some point trying what Porter Road has. I'm not paid by Porter Road to tell you that. I'm not an affiliate. Porter Road, we've talked about Porter Road here before. So yeah, they did come to me, and they gave me some meat in the beginning, but they won me over as a customer. Steven is biased. Steven can drive to their their storefront. Stephen lives out in Nashville, Tennessee, and Porter Road's brick and mortar shop is there in Nashville. So, Stephen, when I get back to Nashville, I'm bringing my cooler. So you and I are gonna go visit them. We're gonna spend some money. we're gonna buy some stuff off out of their cooler there, and I'm gonna bring it home. I love so much of their stuff. I've got a bunch of their stuff in my freezer that we're gonna get started cooking right now. I've got two tri-tips that are coming up soon. We're gonna get those going. Let's see here. Where am I? I'm trying to stay focused here on. We're going to talk about pizza a little bit here also. I published this video today. This came up on Atlanta Grill Company today, but I cooked a pizza using the Dojo accessory on the Pellet Joe, and I made a 65% hydration dough, just flour, salt, water, yeast. I did put a dab of olive oil in this dough, but I made a cheese pizza. I used my homemade tomato sauce on the bottom. I grated on some Parmesan, and then I layered on pickled jalapeno peppers and some roasted red pepper strips, and then put a grated whole milk mozzarella on top, and this is what you get. This thing came out amazing. It's beautiful. If you'll have a look, that crust is just off the hook. Now, this is the first time I've done pizza on the Pellet Joe, so I don't really have a comparison of how the Pellet Joe does without the Dojo, because I've not done it. I just threw the Dojo on there because I wanted to see how well it worked. But there's one fact here that's hard to get by. The flavor on this pizza was incredible, in my opinion. Let me bring Tanya on here with me. Hang on just a second. Tanya, I'm bringing you online. You with me?
I am.
Okay. Tanya had this pizza with me. We had this for dinner last night. The cook on this was not, I wasn't perfect. The crust was a little crispier than I would normally get. I didn't get the grill didn't come out quite as hot as I was going to hope for. I ended up, it was 550 in the dome when I put it on there, and my stone was temping out at about 600. And for that, I really needed to have a little bit more water in the dough. So this dough was a little crisper than I like, but the flavor here, Tanya, do you feel like this pizza had more of a wood-fired flavor than what we normally have?
Yeah, I think so. It was really good.
Well, this one to me, the pellet grill put a flavor profile on this pizza that I'm not used to getting, because normally when I cook pizzas, I'm cooking at hotter temperatures, and I'm not cooking them on the pellet grill. I'm cooking, if I'm cooking in the Dojo on the classic, I'm still cooking up around 650, maybe 675, up just shy of 700. And when I'm cooking in the Alfa, I'm always cooking somewhere between 750 and 850. But the flavor profile I got on this guy was incredible. I'm going to revisit cooking pizza on the Pellet Joe with the Dojo. I'll do one without also, but I need to make a 70. I want to take that and do a 70% hydration dough. Tom Cleveland's with us tonight. Yeah, we're going to talk about coffee here in just a minute, Tom. My wife and I have gone down a rabbit hole here in the last couple of weeks. Have we not, Tanya?
One of us has, for sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, we have. So, well, let me see where we are here. One other quick thing I want to talk about before we go down that rabbit hole is another quick project I took on today. I made some, I told you I just put pickled jalapeno peppers on that pizza. Well, that's something I've been wanting to try to make, and I made some today. I took some jalapeno peppers and some garlic, and I sliced those peppers up, and I made a pickled jalapeno pepper. And I actually made two versions of this, and you'll see more about this later. I put some details up about this on my Patreon page for my Patreon supporters. But this is going to come if you're not if you haven't seen my Patreon page, I would love it if you guys would check it out. Let me put that up here for a second. This is the link to my Patreon page. I put content here on Patreon I put some of this same content that comes on Man Cave Meals, but I put a lot of exclusive content on Patreon, and I appreciate you guys who have supported me on Patreon. And Tanya, if you'll put that comment back up there that I just so rudely put up, overwrote that quickly. Yeah, Stephen, we'll talk about dough. That's dough is baking is an entirely different ball game. That's one of the reasons I'm so fascinated with making bread and making other things. Uh, Pizza dough, bread, and baking is way more difficult than barbecue and grilling. You think a brisket's tough to master, or getting the perfect rack of ribs every time. Bacon's a whole new ball game, and I'll be happy to share anything I know about dough with you. In fact, you know how I am. I'm as OCD as the next guy. I'm more OCD than Luca. He might not agree with that, but I am. I put together a spreadsheet. I'll share with you. That that's my it's my pizza calculator. I've made my own pizza calculator that works with commercial dough and my sourdough. We'll talk about it, but the main thing about pizza crust is figuring out, you know, what hydration you want based on the results that you're going to get on that. So hydration's everything. The amount of water that goes in your dough determines how long you can cook that dough. It determines the amount of crunch or chew texture you're going to get from that dough. And there's just a lot of variables, but after you've done a few, they kind of come together, and it's not that complicated. But yeah, we'll all do that. Courtney, I'm Courtney's barbecue hero. Is that what that says?
That's what it says.
Well, hey, Courtney, you're going to have some pizza tonight, it looks like. GRC 5007 over on YouTube is going to, he's firing up his dojo, going to use my dough recipe, and see, you're going to have some excellent pizza here in just a little bit, I promise. High gluten flour. I use three different flours when I'm making pizza. If I'm going to cook hot, if I'm going to cook at 700 degrees or better, I use the Caputo 00 pizzeria flour. And if I'm going to cook at any lower temperature than that, I'll either use King Arthur all-purpose flour or King Arthur bread flour. I use the organic varieties of both of those. And the King Arthur all-purpose flour is usually, Tanya, correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't King Arthur's all-purpose flour about the same protein content as most other people's bread flours? It's like 11.5 to 12%.
That is correct.
And so yeah, I like the King Arthur product. It's exquisite flour, and I use it. That's the only flour I buy. There, it'll tell you on the bag what their protein percentage is, and if I remember correctly, it's like 11.7 on the all-purpose, and it's like 12.5 or 13 on the bread. And
And then they have the Sir Lancelot, which is
yeah,
their
well, Sir
super high.
Lancelot, I can't buy that in the grocery stores. That's only available in like wholesale. You might be able to buy Sir Lancelot at places like Restaurant Depot. Uh, a Websterant store might have Sir Lancelot.
Yeah,
But
we've seen Sir Lancelot and Sir Galahad at restaurant supply stores before.
yeah, but that restaurant supply store that Tanya and I used to visit closed up. I've lost
Yeah.
that as a source.
But seriously, we love King Arthur so much we went there on our honeymoon.
Yeah, that was we went to their shop up in what was the name of that town in Vermont?
Norwich.
Norwich, Vermont. Yeah.
Yeah.
We drove up there and visited their place up there. It was really cool. So yeah, Stephen wants me to go back to doing the taste. Well, I don't know. Some people love it. The people that love it don't tell me about it enough. The people that don't love it are the ones that are they're commenting about it. I just got really fed up with the negative comments about, oh man, if I didn't have to listen to you chewing that food. I guess what I could do is go mic that out. You
can run a silence filter on the chewing part. Yeah.
Well, I don't care if people critique my cooking, but when they critique me personally, they're gone. If they make it personal, it just bugs the crap out of me, and that's what it boils down to when I do those taste tests. So I've kind of quit doing that. But when we talk about the coffee, I'm gonna bring some pictures back up here, Tanya. Tanya and I, these pictures are not in sequence again. Tanya and I bought a Jura E8 coffee maker from Atlanta Grill Company last week, and we also bought the Cool Control milk refrigerator. This is a little small milk refrigerator. Does this one hold 16 ounces, Tanya?
I don't think so. We don't ever put that much in there.
Yeah, this is a smaller one. They make one larger also, but this sits on the counter. You put milk in it, and it connects directly to the machine with that little hose you saw there. And this guy will make a whole bunch of different coffees. Tanya, run down the list of what coffee drinks this machine will make with one touch.
The espresso, the doppio, flat white, macchiato, macchiato latte, cappuccino, and those are like the main ones that we kind of go for and like.
Yeah, I like cappuccino, and this thing does that. And this is a picture of a couple of espressos, and it's got this little light. This thing's got two spouts there where you can, if you're making a single shot of espresso, it comes out of both spouts, but you can put two shot glasses on there side by side and have it make two at the same time. I actually saw Tanya doing that upstairs earlier tonight. What are you drinking tonight, Tanya? You made a...
Well, I'm empty now, so I'm a little sad, but tonight I made a French vanilla iced latte.
Yeah, and it had 2 shots of espresso in it. And but this thing just makes, a really nice shot. I made a couple of pictures here that I used when I put together a little post for Atlanta Grill Company about this. It does a really awesome job, and I'm not as much of a coffee drinker as Tanya is, but I've been drinking some this week since we got this thing up and running. But I'm sticking with the decaf for now. I don't want to become a caffeine junkie right away. So, but
I have to watch it too because I have a tendency, for whatever the reason, if the caffeine is hot from coffee, it really gets me crazy. And my students are like, "Oh God, no, she has caffeine. Please take it away from her." So,
Yeah. But this thing, this little video right here, I've got a cup sitting here, and it makes. I like cappuccino, and you just watch this. It grinds the coffee. That little sound you just heard, it's grinding the coffee beans that are in the machine. So you've got a fresh grind right away that it's heating the water, and then it's going to put the foamed milk in this glass. And this is all configurable. You can change how much milk it gets. You can change how much espresso it gets. So now that it's got the milk in there, it's going to put the espresso in behind it. And it's just kind of mesmerizing to watch this thing work because it does everything for you. And it's all configurable. You can change any of the parameters of any of these coffee drinks. It's got a built-in water tank. It's got a built-in conical burr coffee grinder. If you don't want to use coffee beans, you can put coffee grounds in it as well and use it directly from that. So there's my cappuccino. So we won't watch it again, but it's really slick how it works. And after I figured out that I didn't have one feature on there that I wanted, I went back and ordered it. There's this add-on called the Smart Connect. The next higher level machine has the Smart Connect. Carla, it doesn't put Bailey's in it. You have to add that yourself. But yeah, you can do that. But this thing,
it's awesome.
I just lost my train of thought. It's all configurable. You can change the parameters in the machine for any of those drinks. But the Smart Connect, I really like this. And this is something I always tell people. You've heard me say, I don't know how many times, I don't really like that extra layer of technology between me and the device. But in this case, there's a Jura app called the Jura operating experience or something like that. I don't remember exactly what Joe stands for, but that thing, Tanya and I both have the app on our phone. So once you have the app on the phone and have your phone connected to the machine, you can configure the drinks on your phone where if I want my espresso made one way, I've got it programmed into my phone, and when I hit the button, it'll make it, and it's just a touch screen operation on my phone. It'll make my espresso, and if Tanya wants hers done differently, she's got those parameters set up, saved in her phone where it'll make it the way she wants it. And that's a really cool concept because this particular Jura machine is really kind of over the top for home use. This thing is designed to live in an office environment where you've got people working. And if you've got an office going with, let's say, 15 or 20 people in it, all they got to do is load the Jura app on their phone, set up what they like, and when they connect to the machine, they can press the button on their phone, and the Jura will make the coffee the way they want it. It'll make it exactly how they want it. And it's really neat. This machine we have would be a low-end machine in an office environment. Jura makes some bigger machines that are more well-suited to having more people use it all day long. And because this machine's that way, there's a daily maintenance routine you have to go through with a machine like this. It's got to have the milk system gets cleaned at the end of the day. You clean out the drip tray. You clean out the coffee grounds. And you run a rinse cycle on the machine. It's not maintenance free, but in order to have that quality of coffee drinks made at home with that, there's a little maintenance involved. So,
and it'll also do other things too, like if you want steamed milk for your hot chocolate, or you just want some foam on top, Or for tea drinkers, you can set up separate brew temperatures. It comes with 2 default settings of green for green tea and 1 for black. So that really helps out. And if you just want hot chocolate, you really would go with that. So
Right.
but
It's got
it
hot
is,
water.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's got everything
Hot
you
water,
want.
hot water or milk. So yeah.
And I like
Scott
the
says it's a
fact,
mid-range. Scott Love knows. Scott Love, I think Scott's the rep for Atlanta Grill Company on this particular product. But Scott, what I'm thinking about is I'm kind of comparing this one to the Giga, and I think the Giga is like a $5,000 unit. But this, I don't know, a Giga might be a machine that's capable of running in a real coffee shop environment, just running all day long. But Scott, I'm stoked with this thing. Tanya's stoked with it. And when I talk about rabbit hole, it's gotten a little more complicated than just the coffee maker for us at this point. Yeah, Tanya and I have decided that we like to roast our own coffee beans, so we're gonna play with that. I've ordered a coffee bean roaster, and I've ordered some green coffee beans. So we're gonna play around with that idea a little bit and see how that pans out. I don't know how well that's gonna go. And no, I'm not gonna roast coffee beans on the Kamado. I thought about that. A lot of people do that. My problem is I'm not a do-it-yourself guy so much, and I was Tanya's gonna laugh at me here. I suck at doing stuff that requires fixing things, assembling things, modifying things to make them work. And
true story.
there are coffee baskets that fit on rotisserie spits on Amazon that are cheap, and the problem is none of them will fit the spit rod that's on my Kamado Joe. You have to modify that. You have to open that. They're like 1/4 of an inch spit rods in these things, and I think the Kamado Joe's like a 5/16 or it something like that. It's a bigger spit rod, and I ruined the first basket I bought trying to use a drill bit to drill that out, and I ruined the second one I bought trying to use a Dremel tool to make that hole bigger, and so I've thrown $50 worth of baskets away, and I also went ahead and bought a variable speed rotisserie motor that would go faster, and that was, I'm $150 into this project now, and I don't have anything to show for it. So I told Tanya yesterday, I said, if we're going to roast coffee beans, I'm going to buy a roaster. I said we're not going to do it with the Kamado.
I'm at work. So, I'm laser focused, and I get a message on my phone. It dings, and I checked, and John's like, "We're not doing this."
Yeah, it's just you guys know me. I like this hashtag MCM really right stuff. You've seen me post that before. When I find something I really like, I'm about really right stuff. And I'm about having the really right tool for the job. I'm not much of a do-it-yourself guy. Now, that being said, I just sat down at dinner tonight and told Tanya, I saw something that's a do-it-yourself project that I think I can do. And I think I can do it. And it's a piece of equipment for coffee roasting. One of the things I've been looking at and reading about is when you roast coffee beans, it's critical to cool your beans quickly. And they say you need to get these beans cooled within 5 minutes because carryover cooking is a big thing with coffee beans. They will keep right on roasting because they're hot when they come out of there. These things are roasting at over 450 degrees. So, they'll become a little tiny piece of charcoal if you're not careful with it. But I saw a do-it-yourself project on the sweetmarias.com website, which is where I bought my coffee roaster and bought my green coffee, of a homemade coffee bean cooler mechanism that I'm going to build. And all it involves a fan, and I bought the fan that I needed, and the ones on the one on the website was built into a cardboard box. I'm going to do something hopefully slightly nicer than a cardboard box, but I think I can make my bean cooler for less than $30 or $40 worth of hardware in a little time, and maybe just a few cuss words, maybe not a whole lot of cuss words. That's how I judge how difficult something is by how many cuss words came out when I was trying to do it. So yeah, the Kamado coffee roaster was off the scale in how many cuss words came out. So we're not going to do that. And Janice is talking about popcorn popper. That's one of the things I'm going to try that also. Tanya, don't you have an air popper?
No.
Well, you did. What happened to it? You didn't have an air popper? Well,
no, I have the special bowl that you put in the microwave.
Oh, it's a microwave popper. Okay, well, I'm probably going to pick up a cheap air popper because I've watched this done and it looks pretty easy, and I want to play with it just to try it out. But the air popper, a lot of people roast coffee beans in these air poppers, and they seem to be pretty happy with it. It's just a limited amount of beans you can do at one time in that popper, so we'll play with that later. But
well,
the Nespresso, yeah, tell him, Tanya.
We have both. So John had bought me a Nespresso a million years ago. And what kind of brought this all to a head was I was griping because I had a Keurig machine at work and the coffee just wasn't good. And so I was like, I'd really like to have my Nespresso at work, and just kind of back and forth on it. And so John says, well, what about this Jura? We've never made a decision on that. We've been looking at it for years. So we finally made the decision on that, and I took my Nespresso up to work. So now I can have cappuccino and espresso at work, which is awesome for me, maybe not so awesome for my students. But, I find that the older I get, the more I'm turning into my mother and the more coffee I'm drinking.
Yeah, well.
So is it worth it? To me, totally worth it. But then again, I'm drinking a lot of coffee, and when my parents come up, I like to be able to serve that to them, and my mother-in-law as well. So so far I'm really happy with it. I've enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun to play with. So
yeah, it's worth is one of those words that's hard to define because it's subjective. This Jura, let me tell you, the Jura is an expensive machine. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of money. It is a lot of money for a coffee machine. It's that there's some less expensive options than the one we bought that you should look at when you're going to look at the Jura line. Look at everything they've got and figure out what you want to make. I don't know what the best comparison is. There's a lower end model of the Jura that's more closely related in capabilities to Tanya's Nespresso. There's the ENA 8, and there's one below that, Tanya. I looked at the Jura website today. There's the ENA. I think it was called a Mini 90 or something. I don't remember the detail. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, there are tons of them out there. It just kind of depends on what you want. And I tend to really like the milk-based drinks.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that we really looked at this, because of the wide variety of options with the milk-based drinks.
Awesome. But yeah, I like cappuccinos, and I kept telling myself when I bought that Nespresso for Tanya for Christmas that year, I said, I'm going to start drinking cappuccino drinks or cappuccinos more frequently. And Tanya will agree with this, but I can probably count the times on one hand that I made a cappuccino with that Nespresso. And it's not because it wasn't good. It's just because I'm not much of a coffee drinker. But
I used it a lot, and during the pandemic,
all the time. Yeah.
Holy cow, it was right there. teaching online, y'all, it takes a lot more energy than teaching takes energy, period. And teaching online when you're trying to, reach through the ether and especially if it's something as really fascinating and intense as network engineering, it's really easy to make that a snooze fest quickly. And so you want to convey a lot of pep and a lot of enthusiasm for your subject. And, having that Nespresso machine was great because I could just go over there and make it.
All righty. Well, we're running past our time marker. We've been going an hour and 10 minutes, but I appreciate everybody hanging out with me tonight. Like I said, sometime between now and next week's live stream, I will have published a video on Atlanta Grill Company's YouTube channel and their Facebook page of my walk around demo of the Pellet Joe, or not the Pellet Joe, the Kettle Joe. So keep your eyes open for that. But next Friday, watch out for this live stream because I'm going to talk about the Kettle Joe in depth, in detail, what I think about it, and hopefully I'm going to do some comparisons between that grill and what I know about Weber kettles. I started out on Weber kettles, so I'm fully familiar with how those things operate and what they can and can't do. And like I said, I'm trying to get a guest on with me to talk about that as well. So, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. I appreciate everybody. This has become a fun thing. This is something that Tanya and I both look forward to every Friday night now. So glad you could come with us. And until next week, y'all keep the good food rolling.